Hello and welcome to Tech Circle. You're listening to the Capital Call series. In today's episode, I'm joined by Dayakar Puskor, serial entrepreneur and managing director of Dallas Venture Partners. Dallas Venture Partners was launched last month to fund emerging technology startups in the US and in India. Thank you so much, Dayakar, for taking the time out and joining us today.
Let's start with what was the vision actually behind the Dallas Venture Fund, and what kind of fund is it? So, any sort of potential that you're seeing, particularly in India?
Dallas Venture Partners, our mission and goal is basically invest in India and also in the US, two countries, basically our focus. India, we've been already investing, in from our previous stuff, but right now, Abid joining our fund, and also we also have a team right now, India, already, as you know, Sham and Tariq Gokul. We have started already almost close to, I would say 50, 60 companies interviewing and evaluating. We feel like we have at least 4 or 5 companies close to where we could invest in them. So our goal is really invest next 10 years anywhere $300 to $500 million in India.
So Abid Ali Nimuchwala joining in as partner. So was there any particular idea behind roping him in?
So as you know, I have ran companies, started companies. I was an engineer before, and also I worked at Motorola, Microsoft. Ran teams. Have a pretty good experience. But Abid is experience running a $8 billion revenue company, and his vast technical knowledge and his humbleness makes a big difference to work with entrepreneurs, especially when you have technical entrepreneurs. They would like to see their I would not call us the investors. We are partners. What we kind of call entrepreneurs investing other entrepreneurs. So Abid's experience on the technology and his marketing and sales acumen and leadership skills, I think makes a huge difference for any startup who wants to be part of a Dallas Venture DVP family.
Right. And talking specifically about the time of the launch, Dayakar, why now amid COVID? So was this long in cards, or the launch specifically, expects to address or cater to the COVID influenced market in India?
No, not really. It's nothing to do with COVID. We have been planning this one. As you know, everything takes a lot of planning. I've been knowing Abid for the last 5 years. We want to do this one, after he left Wipro. I requested him to join and he accepted right away. One thing I can tell you, we have seen with the COVID, so many entrepreneurs are really thinking a lot of innovative ideas. I think we're going to see how they will be, addressing some problems, faced by B2B, software, and especially the small medium business. As you know, some healthcare providers, barber shops, or it could be accounting, shops, or hotels. They all face this unprecedented event, and they were not prepared. As you know, a lot of big companies, some of them are prepared for disaster, but a lot of small companies in the business were not prepared. Especially if you look at essential businesses, some of them are small business were not prepared. So we think there's going to be a huge opportunity in the B2B software providing to the small medium business, where they can really run their entire business using through the cloud. From these innovators will be coming those solutions. You will see pretty soon.
Yeah. And what will be the funding and exit strategies, particularly of DVF? Will there also be other incubation support other than the minority aid that you guys will be providing?
No, pretty much our focus is venture, right? We strictly focus venture and focus technology, focus is B2B software, and we would like to have a B2B SaaS model also to be very focused. Some companies may not have a SaaS model, but even when we invest in IoT, end of the day, it has to be software-enabled hardware. So with that, our strategy to invest at least, as you know, investing at $2 million to $10 million. And, it's a very early stage. Like, so when we're talking about, companies, already, have at least some product market fit. And then really, how do we help them, getting that product market fit? Maybe they already have some customers in India or somewhere in Asia. How do we take them to US? As you know, if you look at, software side, especially software as a service or cloud services, 60 to 70% of the revenue still comes from the US. But good news, as I said before, now companies starting in India also, they're able to actually generate revenue in India or at least test the product in India.
Right. You mentioned B2B SaaS. Is there anything, are there other sectors or portfolios that you guys are interested in?
Sure. So when you look at, we are more a generalist, you understand, like when I say generalist, we try to invest in a software companies, they are building infrastructure software, a generalist. But those software companies also in the SaaS, as you can see, and some of them will be focused on, financial, BFSI stuff. Some of them will be in healthcare. Some of them will be, I can see, new, sectors will be able to use B2B SaaS in the even energy and, oil and gas and real estate. There are some laggard industries, especially if you look at, construction, real estate, they still use a lot of pen and paper. I think you're going to see more and more efficiencies having B2B software and also having IoT type of, enabled, digital, transformation enabled software. That will help a lot, for building maintenance and all that.
What are your expectations from India, say in terms of what kind of maturity potential do you think the Indian market particularly has to offer here?
Yeah, I think like a Indian market, I'll tell you, Shweta, I've been, working in India from my whole life, right? Basically, when I started my first job at Motorola, Motorola is one of the few companies set up actually operations in Bangalore, TI, Motorola. So I used to have a team in Bangalore. I used to go to, Bangalore and, my customers were in Japan. So then after that, really, I started my own company called JP Mobile that also had operations in Hyderabad. We had close to 150 engineers. So I have seen how India has been evolving. In the beginning, it was more, as like services and done by some great companies like Wipro, TCS, and all that. That was what I kind of call a Gen 1. They have created a lot of jobs and created a good ecosystem and some good leaders. Then the multinational companies also came in, like a Motorola, Microsoft set up their operations. That also create a very good technical / leadership talent in India. Then the generation 2, as you know, companies like a Flipkarts of the world or Zomatos of the world started in India, serving in India. They made Indian consumer able to use technology and make it easy, right? If you look at
Right.
this, have done a great job on the what I kind of B2C side, business to consumer side. They have done a pretty good job, and a lot of them got pretty good funding. So I'm happy to see some of them exited and also really created some millionaires and billionaires, created some unicorns in India. So it's been very encouraging. Now we kind of see
Right.
Gen 3. Gen 3 is kind of companies. We invested in a company called Hyperwatch, which started in IIT, Chennai. And now their company is doing very well, and they're able to provide their software even to the Department of Defense here and other companies in the US. That's what we are able to help them getting a customer like Airbus here, right? So that they're able to sell not only in India but outside too. So I think now the Gen 3 companies, we think they will be global software companies. We will see in India, B2B software companies like Snowflakes, like a UiPath from India, and there's already happening. Some companies, I'm pretty sure you heard about Zoho, Freshdesk, done a great job, and we think with our not only investments but also with our business connections and network, we can actually help them more to get those customer base and scale from that 1 million to 10 million. We kind of call it 1 million to 10 million jump, then 10 to 100 million. These are the areas we think we can help some of these companies and work with them and become partner with them.
Right. And looking at the current scenario in terms of economy and market, so money lending seems to be a pretty hard business to be at this point in time. So I just wanted to ask, how do you look to hedge against bad debts and other market risks, especially at this time?
No, I think like a venture is always a risk. Like when you're investing, technology companies very early, it's always a risk, right? Somebody has taken risk on me when I started my company very early. Yes, in a venture, you definitely, expect, some of the companies, not going to do well. But I think that's where really, Sweta, like if you look at even companies we have invested, before also, we were able to at least to, do little different model. Our strategy has been, not only, looking for unicorns, but also really making sure these companies, I kind of call like a hitting, everybody don't have to hit a home run, but they could be singles and doubles too. So I think like with that mindset, working with these entrepreneurs, our goal is, make sure like we both are on the same page. What the success looks like for entrepreneurs. That's the number one thing I look at, because I've been an entrepreneur. I had some good investors. I had some investors where I expected some help I did not get. That's where I felt like really there's an entrepreneur who understands what an entrepreneur goes through, right? For example, one of the companies we invested early on, almost I became a part of their team, helping them the product strategy, and focus, and also because as as a founders and entrepreneurs, you want to rule the world. You're trying to do everything. Like it's almost like a kid in a candy store. So we try to make them focus, make sure like really you don't have to go and boil the ocean. First, let's get really one product or one thing. You get a customer first, right? Once you get a customer, that customer using your product, and after using that product, also telling his colleagues or like really others in the business, that makes a huge difference. That's what we kind of call, now you have a product market fit. Once you have that product market fit, then it becomes a scaling game. As you know, there are a lot of companies already have in India. If you look at in the SaaS, I think we heard the numbers from NASSCOM. There are close to 1,500 B2B SaaS companies, and close to maybe 150 of them already have close to $1 million revenue. And those companies will be excellent target for us, right? And now they have actually proven, but now they need to scale, going from 2 million to 10 million. That's where we think like we cut down our risk.